You need to find ways to lower your costs every day of doing business. And that's what technology and AI is going to allow us to do. The more we can rely on technology, the better off we're going to be.
Welcome back to The Transfer. Today, I'm very excited to have David Rosenberg with me. David is the president of DSR Motor Group. He's overseeing 13 different dealerships across New England, right? So has a full plate. David, would you mind doing a quick intro and telling everyone about yourself?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me on, Carolyn. I appreciate it. So I've been in the car business my entire life. My father, actually the dealership that I recently bought, my father started as a salesperson across the street.
Oh,
And
wow.
I remember when I was a little kid, he would take me there. I was probably 3 or 4 years old. He would take me there on Sundays because the dealership was closed, and he'd pass out business cards. Then he got a used car lot. And then he became a Toyota dealer in 1975. I was 13 years old and learned how to drive at 13.
The perks.
Driving cars on the lot. Yeah, I was the lot man. I was the janitor, cleaned cars off in the winter. I worked for him Saturdays and during my breaks from school. And my father grew the business. He acquired an Oldsmobile dealership, so it became Ira Olds Toyota. Ira's my dad's name. And I worked in that dealership. I worked in the parts department, the service department, and I really grew up there. And I loved spending time with my dad. He was always working. He worked 60, 70 hours a week. I'm the eldest child, and it was a way for me to spend time with my dad, and I loved it. And I went to college. I realized that I wouldn't be able to pay rent or with the jobs I was in. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to go in the car business. And I went back in the car business, came back, worked as a sales manager, opened up a Hyundai store. And then after a couple of years, I got antsy. So I went to business school in New York City. And that was in the late 80s. And I majored in real estate finance, but I took a lot of accounting courses and other things. I started applying everything back to the car business all the time. And I said, you know, if I'm going to work 60 or 70 hours a week myself, I got this business that I love. My father would really enjoy if I were to go there. And I said, the hell with it, went in the car business. And that was in the late 80s. I had one good year before we had the recession. I learned more running that dealership during a recession than I could have learned in 50 years in business school. And I surrounded myself with people that were smarter than me in every department. This is like the early 90s at this point. We became successful, started buying other dealerships. And then in the late 90s, all of the experts said that car dealers were going to become extinct, just like the dinosaurs, because people would do everything through the internet, and it was really going to change the way we did business. And I started to get really nervous. I had initiated a buyout with my dad. I got very nervous about all of these disruptors at the time coming into the industry. I was approached by several public companies, and we ended up making a deal with Group One. This is in January of 2000. We actually closed the deal. And I got stock in Group One, and I became the platform president. It was still called Ira Motor Group. For 5 or 6 years, it was terrific. We grew the Ira Motor Group. My father taught me a lot. One of the things we did was the employees made a lot of money in the stock ownership plan that they had. My father and I took $1 million of the money we were receiving, and we handed it out to employees along with $1 million worth of stock. And because some of these people had worked for my dad for decades, and we felt tremendously loyal to them. And, for a long time, I ran it the way I always ran it, and then it changed, and it came time for me to leave. During the course of my tenure at Ira Motor Group, the later years, I met this guy, David Abrams, and he has a financial advisory firm in Boston. He would come in and ask me about the car business. He said, well, I'd like to do something with you. In the meantime, my father, with all his other entrepreneurial ventures, decided that he really only knew the car business. He wanted to get back in the car business. So I got permission for him to buy a Toyota and Hyundai dealership in Maine. So those stores were called Prime.
Gotcha.
So David Abrams, who's become my friend, said, I'll back you. Let's go find some dealerships. And we bought a big family dealership business in Massachusetts from the Claire family, Clair. And we renamed the dealerships Prime Motor Group. And ironically, they had 3 stores in the same town in Maine, Saco, Maine, Southern Maine, where my dad and I own those stores. Okay. And we acquired a bunch of their stores, great franchises. And we went from approximately 400 million in revenues that first year. And by the way, I should mention, we closed in November of 2017. December is when we went into the deepest, darkest automotive recession. Wow. But we bought some good dealerships. We put in the practices that had made us successful in the first place at Ira, and we grew that business. And after 9 or 10 years, everything was going great. We had really grown it. We grew up to about 26 dealerships. And then everyone's talking about the disruptors, car sharing services, CarMax, Carvana, battery electric vehicles, all of these things. And I started to get nervous because all of my wealth was tied up in the car business. But we were doing really, really well. We didn't take any money out of the business. We used it to grow organically. And we grew it to about $1.5 billion in revenue. Wow. So, and we had a fantastic team. A lot of people have been with us for decades that have worked with me at Ira. We promoted from within. And I got approached at the end of 2017 by a broker saying, I've got this new venture capital firm. Guy hounded me, and finally they sent an offer. And I did, and we decided to take a deal. And they had 25 or 26 other dealerships. David Abrams got bought out, and I kept 10% ownership in the company. We wanted to take over our other dealerships, which were all over the place: upper state New York, New Jersey area, Pittsburgh, Houston, but a very disparate group. And I have to say, I couldn't understand why some of the purchases were made at the time. And the dealerships were not particularly run that well. So in March of 2018, I took over those other dealerships. I started to take over the other dealerships, and I found a lot of the manufacturers sent termination notices. And that Prime Motor Group, which took over a decade to build, ended up getting sold a few years later. In 2019, I bought a Chevrolet dealership in Maine to start all over again.
Hard reset. Oh my goodness.
Night reset. I bought a Chevrolet dealership, and I decided this time I'm going to do it differently. Number one, I don't need to be the owner of every dealership myself. I'm going to make my general managers operating partners. They all have equity in the dealership. And we've grown since 2019. We have 13 dealerships now. We've got a lot of different stores, and every one of them is run by an operating partner. And so they treat it like it's their own business, because guess what? It is their business. And it's really hard to get in the car business right now. It requires a lot of capital. And so I get one of the great pleasures of my life by making these people that have been very loyal to me owners of dealerships.
That's incredible.
Technology has changed a lot, which is what we're going to talk about. The last thing I want to mention is the business fundamentals that my father taught me that we still use. And he always said, David, running a car business is like sitting on a 3-legged stool. What happens if you pull one leg of a 3-legged stool up? You fall. He said, so these are the 3 legs. These are the 3 core foundations of our business. Number one, you need to make sure that your customers are not just satisfied, but they become advocates, because you want them to tell everyone that they know, friends, family, coworkers, that your dealership is the only dealership that they should buy and service a vehicle. Number 2, you can't take care of customers unless your employees are engaged. It means they got to be trained well. They need to understand what their job is. They need to get They need to feel like they're getting compensated in a way that rewards them for their value to the company. And they need to come to work and create a pleasant and safe work environment. So number three, this is not a charity. We're in business to make money. So profit is one of our core foundations, but it's fair profit. I don't like to take advantage of anybody because I want them to continue to do business with me. I don't want to gouge anyone, and we just need to do what's right by the customer. We're entitled to a reward for being in business, but it's got to be a fair reward. And so those are our three core foundations of our business. And the overlying philosophy we have is the golden rule. Treat other people the way you want to be treated. And he taught me when you go into a dealership, the first thing you do is you go into the restroom. Because if the restroom's not clean and your customers are using that restroom, they're going to say, these people can't even keep a clean restroom. What do they really think about me as a customer? And it's funny because right, when we used to go into restaurants, my father would do the same thing. And he would say, we're not going to eat here. They can't keep the restroom clean. Imagine what the kitchen looks like.
Oh gosh, so true.
So,
Health inspector.
My father was a major influence in my life. He was a real people person. He was sincere. He taught me that you got to give back to the community, which made you successful, and you got to be loyal to your people that are loyal to you. We've grown the business that way, and we're going to continue to grow.
He gave you a three-legged stool of integrity to build.
Yes, he did.
I so love that, David. Well, let's shift gears then. I know we've talked a little bit about, you even hit on technology changing, but it doesn't even have to be technology. You talked about the disruptors. What are you seeing today that are kind of major shifts, things that are kind of impacting your business or the strategies of how you're going to market today?
So the biggest thing is access to information. Everyone through, a minutes worth of typing can get any bit of information they want. And now with AI, they can really narrow it down significantly and really quickly. When I came into the car business, it was like the Wild West. It was a lot easier to be better than the competition because a lot of people were what I refer to as old school. I came into the car business. One of our competitors used to throw the keys to their trade-ins up in the roof so they couldn't leave until they bought a car. And crazy, crazy stuff. So it was very easy to be better than the competition.
Low bar.
But customers' access to information has forced all dealers to get better. Advertising has changed. We used to spend a ton of money on print, on radio, and television. But that's like the shotgun approach. Mm-hmm. You can be so much more effective with your advertising dollars today through social media advertising in the internet. But because of that access to information, you need to run a tight ship. I don't know about you, but when I'm in a new area and I'm looking for a restaurant, I'll look at the ratings. And I'm not going to go to a place that has low ratings. I only want to go to a place that has high ratings.
Yep.
So it's forced us to become better and better.
Something I noticed with even your dealerships, like I've got Audi Fall River in front of me, a 4.6 on Google, 620 reviews. That stuff matters. People go look, and they can't get smart on shopping around before you've even walked into the dealer. And from what I see, people go into less dealerships now because of that, right? So it's
right. So we used to have a closing ratio for walk-in traffic. People who didn't call you or who didn't email you in the internet. Closing ratios used to be about, 20, 25%. Okay. Closing ratios on walk-in traffic is over 50% now because people do so much of their homework. Yeah. They don't need to visit 4, 5, 6, 7 dealers. They visit 2 dealers now.
Yep. If this one or that one, they have this car, they have that car, go. And that's it.
Exactly. And that's been a good thing. As long as you have the right processes in place, if your people are doing their job, you're going to do business. And it's a lot of the basics. Like we say, a football analogy, it's blocking and tackling. Are you answering the phone the right way? What are you saying to the consumer? Are you answering your emails properly? Are you giving them the information that they're asking for? Are you following up properly? Are we training our people? Do we have a sales process that our staff can refer back to? Do we have a service process for our service advisors? A lot of the basics in terms of training, process and customer treatment have remained the same over the years, it's much more important to be that much better at it now.
What would you say is working well for you right now, kind of in that vein?
With the advent of AI, for example, every one of my salespeople can write a professional response to an internet inquiry now.
Yep.
Because they go on ChatGPT and they edit the response before they send it back. The font's okay. It's professionally written. They're answering the question, etc. So that has certainly helped us. In addition to that, the reporting and the information, big data that's available to us through technology is amazing. And as AI develops and we can spend less time acquiring the data and more time analyzing it and creating new processes and new ways of responding, we become more and more efficient. And so the average salesperson used to sell 8 cars a month at an average dealership. Then it became 12 cars a month. We want our salespeople to sell 18 to 20 cars a month at minimum. And so technology has enhanced their ability to do that. I will say one thing we learned during COVID, which most dealers have gotten away from, is people weren't allowed to come to visit you in the dealership. So we did everything via Zoom. We would bring cars to customers. We'd pick up service cars for service appointments. And then as soon as everything opened up, everyone went back to the old way of doing things. We're trying to incorporate more of those COVID-forced business practices into our everyday practices, because the more convenient we can make it for the customer, the better off we are. And a customer's most valuable commodity is their time.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
One of the pain points in buying a car is the time that it takes. If we're constantly measuring how long that takes, and if we can cut back on that, then we're going to be successful.
Yeah, and that's where digital can enable it. You can see the car,
Yes.
see the details, you have the full breakdown before you even ever set foot in there. I talk with a lot of dealership owners, and there's some who want the Carvana experience. And how do you you can meet them on that level, but then there's humans who, these cars are big purchases. They're some of the most expensive things you buy. So you need to go, and they want to be in person, checking it out, driving it, talking to a human, someone they feel accountable to, that can go talk to if there's an issue, and there's room for still both of those things in this world.
It needs to be. You need to have a hybrid system. And a lot of what can cut back on that time is people can now create their deal online. And they can do it at home whenever it's convenient for them. And they come into the dealership, they've already got the car chosen. They already know what they're going to get for a trade-in. They know what their payments are going to be. And it just makes for a quick, easy process. And a lot of these industries wouldn't exist if it weren't for car dealerships, CarMax and Carvana. We do everything that they do. We can do it better than they do. And if you look on their websites, their customers are paying more for their cars more often than they're paying at a dealership. But we weren't making it easy for the customer. We weren't posting our used car prices on the internet. Everyone had to negotiate. And, a lot of dealers got away from that a long time ago. Most dealers did. But if we had done that in the beginning, CarMax wouldn't exist. Carvana wouldn't exist.
Yeah. So what's something that's been super frustrating where you're like, if I could wave a magic wand and not have to deal with this, this would be it?
So I would say the most frustrating thing is we have all of these different technologies in our dealership. We have a dealership management system, which runs our accounting and our parts and service business. We have CRMs, customer relationship management systems. We have a used car valuation tool that we use. We have a service marketing tool. We have all of these disparate systems. And I don't care what anyone tells you, they don't integrate 100%. Some of them integrate better than others. And that's where we get frustrated. There's a lot of repetition. There's a lot of redundancy when you have disparate systems. And some of these companies charge you to have your CRM hook up to the DMS or to input information from one system into another. And that gets pretty expensive. And it's ridiculous. So that's the most frustrating thing.
Yeah, no, that is a real challenge with technology is having worked at companies large and small, it ultimately creates data silos. And that you, like you said, having visibility to it, being able to pull out the learnings from it, that's half the battle is people can't get everything all in that holistic view. So that's where I think orchestration with AI has really become the new focus. How do you use what it's good for, bringing together these things so it does start to flow in a seamless way? Because
exactly,
it's such a pain point. Like that's where humans are still making sure that the technology is working and the left hand's talking to the right hand. So orchestrating that all together is definitely a big trend happening.
and those data silos create work process hiccups.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you less efficient than you otherwise could be. So that's the frustration. You're absolutely right.
Have you put any game plans in place to go after, try to kind of address those? Because you need these systems. They're vital to your business. But
so technology is changing constantly. I need to make it as easy as possible for managers to analyze their departments and to analyze the transactions and the overall trends and areas of opportunity. And we have a great reporting system now that is able to pull data from every one of our systems into one reporting system.
Yeah.
We can combine, dashboard, we can combine reports. And that's working very, very well.
What platform? Out of curiosity.
We use something called Click, QL, IK. It works very, very well. This is like a ready-made system that they've really done an unbelievable job. Some of the public companies use them. I would like to see an AI tool that also pulls together all of this information and at the touch of a button can identify opportunities, identify trends. And within each tool that we use, like within our CRM, if machines are truly self-learning and you feed them enough data, it should be able to identify, because sometimes it takes people 60 to 90 days to buy a vehicle, right? And it gets very frustrating when someone contacts you to follow up with them religiously and give them something of value during the follow-up that's going to engage them enough to come back in the dealership.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
lead nurturing, right?
Yeah. So if we can identify those customers based upon data that are the most likely to come in and focus on those customers first, that'll make us more efficient. If we can automate some of that follow-up so that it looks like it's coming from a human being rather than a bot, that would be terrific. We're really not there yet. We're working on getting there, but we're still in the infancy of AI and how it will work in the automobile business. But it's going to make us more efficient. And the irony is vehicle gross profits, they've gone up a little bit, but they certainly haven't kept up with inflation. So if your gross profit levels are remaining the same, roughly, or just growing at a slower pace, you need to find ways to lower your costs every day of doing business. And that's what technology and AI is going to allow us to do. The more we can rely on technology, the better off we're going to be.
All right. So one last question. As you look toward the future, where do you want to be in the next 12 months?
I think the biggest area of opportunity is our ability to take data and activate it. And what do I mean by that? Well, every phone call that comes into the dealership now is recorded, transcribed. If I had a tool that said, this is what this salesperson's appointment ratio is on incoming phone calls, and it's lower than average, and I could have a tool that listens to those calls.
And like a call analyzer. Yeah, sales call analyzer.
Yeah. And this is what this person does well. This is what this person doesn't do well. Then I can give my managers a game plan when they sit down to do their one-on-ones with that salesperson. The other thing that I'm a little concerned about is the internet took our business by storm, and we adapted and we used it. Well, AI is going to take the business by storm in many different ways. But one way I'm worried about is I don't know about you, but when I do searches now, I don't even use Google a lot anymore. I go right to GPT, or I use Perplexity. It narrows down the search so much, and it makes it so easy for me to find information. Well, as more and more people start to do that, they're going to migrate away from Google.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's where a lot of our customers start their journey, and we can reach them on Google.
Yeah.
As of right now, you really can't reach them on ChatGPT and Perplexity. Now, do I think they're going to end up monetizing it? Yes, but how? I don't know how they're going to monetize it. So that's like my worry. I know we'll adapt. I just don't see when it's going to happen. So we need to become really good at foreseeing the way AI is going to impact our business and making sure we capitalize on every opportunity.
Now it changed. So you think about, they used to call it SEO, search engine optimization. It's a whole different game now. The reality is the ChatGPTs, they're all pulling from everything that sits within, Google and all the everything out there on the internet. So it's like, how do you optimize not just for that kind of Google search result now, but for the LLMs? How do you make sure you're getting in there with the right content? Because the way people search on ChatGPT is a lot different. It's a long tail search. Google might still be the place you go for the near me stuff. Like, hey, I'm looking for the restaurant near me. Because like you said, do the reviews say the bathroom's clean? Because if they don't, I'm not going in.
Exactly.
So it sounds like the future is bright for DSR Motor Group.
I hope so. We've got a lot of people that rely on us to be successful. Not just people that work here, but we support the local community as much as possible. So,
and supplying people with their cars, I mean, that's like a lifeline. That gets you to work, that takes you and your family where they need. Like when you don't have your vehicle, like it throws you off completely. So that in and of itself, it's important. What you're providing to the community as your sale is a vital need for most people to live their lives.
Absolutely.
Well, David, I think that's a perfect spot to kind of wrap things up. Thank you so much for your time. You had so much great insight and I think good perspective on what you're focused on for the future. If anyone is in the market, wants to talk to you, where is the best place to find you to reach out and talk?
They can go right to dsrmotorgroup.com. They can email me directly, drosenberg@dsrmotorgroup.com. What I get a rush from is helping people. So they can anyone can call me for anything. I'll be happy to deal with you personally.
Well, thank you again. You heard it here first, folks. And that wraps us up for this episode of The Transfer.